Welcome to the University of Olivet 2025 Courageous Leadership Colloquium. We are in session 18, where we are going to explore how we can create big impact by giving big thanks. We have two members of the Comet varsity basketball team, Sam Howard, number 3, and Evan Honnen, number 0, and they're going to share with us some ways that they practice gratitude. So sometimes the bravest leadership move is to simply show that you notice and value others. This panel invites everyone to explore how gratitude can be a bold and transformative act of leadership. Sam and Evan are going to share stories of giving credit, of recognizing effort, and celebrating the investments of others who have made their story a great story. And then together we're going to brainstorm people who deserve our thanks, colleagues, teammates, professors, and staff, and explore creative ways to express appreciation. Through this conversation, you'll discover how giving credit and acknowledging others not only strengthens relationships, but also builds cultures of trust and respect. Bold appreciation is contagious. Once you catch it, you'll change the way you lead and the way others feel valued. So we are excited to have both Sam and Evan with us. Let's get started with our conversation. With them, I'm going to share a little bit of research with you first about why we're really digging into this idea of gratitude as being important to leadership and being important to creating courageous leaders. So when athletes lead with gratitude, some really cool things happen in their teams and also for them personally. Gratitude and being thankful for situations and opportunities, and the whole idea of gratefulness helps with mental health and with resilience and also with team cohesion and performance. So when athletes are grateful, the whole team actually does better. And so it's been so cool to talk with these guys and prepare with them to really learn what that looks like, what that feels like, not just on the court and getting ready, but really in all aspects of their life. So what positive psychology research has showed us is that gratitude is linked to higher life and sport satisfaction, greater social support, greater team connections, and lower levels of burnout. And that's really a huge thing, particularly for student athletes who have to juggle two really big areas of their life with the rest of their life as well. So our athletes are going to share some stories. First, they're going to tell who they are, what their major is, and where they are in their learning journey and what position they play. And we will move on from there. So welcome to Evan and Sam.
Thank you. I'm Evan Honnen. I'm a senior here studying insurance, and I play small forward on the basketball team here.
Yeah. My name is Sam Howard. I'm a sophomore. I'm also in insurance and risk management, just like my buddy Evan, and I'm a guard on the basketball team.
Awesome. So you just gave us a promo for a future session for insurance and risk management. The Insurance Rebel, Heather Blevins, is coming this afternoon. So make sure you join us for that. So these guys are probably going to be joining in or watching that video later to learn more to boost their insurance and risk management skills. But let's get back to the topic at hand, shall we? Gratitude. So how do you personally define gratitude and what does it look like in your daily life as a student athlete?
For me, gratitude would be waking up, no matter, what type of mood you're in, whether it's bad, happy, good, but just being able to think about the positives you have in life. You woke up, you have a roof over your head, you have a bed, you're able to go eat, you're able to go to this school, play sports in his instance. It's just be able to find the little things and continue to stay grateful for those things.
Absolutely. Thanks for that. But
Yeah, similar vein, just like gratitude to me is being thankful, like Sam's talking about. I'd say for like little things, even if you are having a rough day or going through a rough patch. I mean, there's even just living in this country, there's a lot of opportunities and things that we take for granted every day. So I think gratitude is being able to truly reflect and kind of see the things that you have that are just huge blessings.
And something that we shared when we were prepping was the idea of the shift in mindset and thinking about things from a gratitude perspective just really helps you see everything differently, which is really cool.
Absolutely.
Can you share a time when expressing gratitude to a teammate or to a coach made a difference in your performance or your mindset?
Yeah, so a couple years ago, I'm a senior on our basketball team here now. I had a teammate and we were both going through a little bit of a rough patch just with our sport. I think it was around finals were coming up. We had a lot of stress from school related things as well as just basketball. And he's like, "Oh man, why am I still doing this every day? Like I don't even play." And I'm like, "Well, dude, like we get to play basketball here. We get to practice and be a part of something that's bigger than us and be on a team. And even if you're not starting or playing a ton of minutes, I'm telling them like you have a role on this team and you help those guys that are playing every day in practice get better and build towards the goals that we're trying to accomplish as a team and team success. So that's a big thing for me is like coming out of high school, you have a lot of guys, at college that are thinking, okay, I'm gonna average 20, I'm gonna be great. And it's like, that might be your role, but for a lot of guys, it's not gonna be your role. So you gotta kind of put your ego at the door and be like, okay, I'm a part of a team now, even more so maybe than in high school where it was easy. I was the guy. You're not that anymore. Maybe your job is just to, be on the practice squad. But like I think both of us, it helped both of us for sure, reflecting on it. Like we get to practice. It's such an opportunity to play the sport here and enjoy that while being in school. And just putting that into perspective and, being able to reflect on, okay, this might not be where we want to be right now, but there's opportunity here to build, and there's also a lot of positives that come along with just being on a team and the influence you get to have on guys and vice versa, and just the friendships you get to build. So um, that's probably the instance that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, it's an awesome example. Thanks for sharing that.
Mhm.
I'd be interested to know, talking to that guy, how that shifted for him, I expect.
Yeah.
He looked at things a little differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool, thanks. Any thoughts on that?
I'm covered it.
Okay, so research shows that gratitude can reduce burnout. We talked a lot about burnout while we prepped. How have you seen gratitude help you stay motivated during long stretches or tough seasons?
I mean, for me, going into my freshman year here after my senior year of high school, I was overworking myself like crazy, trying to get my grades up for college and just prepare myself for college basketball. And I was way burnt out. I didn't want to work out anymore. I didn't want to try in school. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But then I realized, some of my friends told me that, start thinking about the positives in life, maybe take a step back and just look at what you have. And as I started to realize that and realize, oh, I have a great family that loves and supports me. I have a great girlfriend that supports me and loves me. I have a great church community. I go to church every Sunday. They support me. I have food. I have 3 meals a day. Like once I started realizing that, I was like, oh wow, like I have all this other stuff and basketball, it's there for me as well. So once I realized that, I have it better off than I thought, it started to take that weight off of my shoulders and I was able to play a lot more free. I was able to pay attention to school more, and I was just a lot more grateful for the opportunities that I have.
Sure, absolutely. So when we were talking earlier, you said you really didn't know at first what it was. Like
No,
you didn't
yeah.
know that it was burnout. You hear that term burnout, and it was cool that you had a conversation with someone who said, you know what, it sounds like your brother, I think it was your sister maybe. That's burnout is. And so that's something that some people don't really realize when you're like feeling like you're in quicksand. It's a good idea to reach out to someone and talk to someone. That could be the coach, it could be your parent, it could be your academic advisor, to say, I just don't feel like doing any of it. And they can help you really distill and analyze, okay, what's happening and how to move forward, because sometimes we just feel stuck. And so the gratitude is an excellent practice to keep us uplifted, but bringing that support system around you too is it's an important thing. Thoughts on burnout?
Similar things. I mean, I think whether you're a college athlete or just a student, I think that you can get overworked, and even in a job. I mean, it's something definitely to be aware of. Like even like you're saying, recognizing, okay, I am burnt out. Now what do I do? And just the necessary steps to get out of it. To pull yourself out of it. But I think same touched on a lot of things, similar things for me. Like I go to church, I have a church community, I have my fiance that I lean on, our families. Um, and just having people around you that can kind of help you through that, I think is a big thing.
Yeah, and so as we've been talking about courageous leadership these past 2 days, one of the big things that courageous leaders do is find that tribe, find that team, find a group of people that y'all can lean on each other, because life isn't tough for everybody all at the same time. Oftentimes someone might be, might have a break and might be able to be that person that you can just kind of unload on,
Yeah.
or support you, or just just sit and watch a movie and chill together. So find that tribe, definitely. Get together, join a group or a club or an organization in school with like-minded people, so y'all can kind of be on that journey together.
100%.
So gratitude and bouncing back. So what role does gratitude play in bouncing back from losses or injuries or setbacks?
So something that comes to mind, we didn't talk about this when we prepped, but, Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles right before the playoffs started, and, he kind of vented on a Facebook post I saw a couple years ago, and he was talking about how it sucks, we're about to go to the playoffs, I've taken that step 1,000 times, why is my Achilles tearing now, and just expressing a lot of frustration, and then he's like, he kind of switches up his whole demeanor in the text, and is like, no, a lot of people have it worse off than I do right now. I need to get back to work, I need to get better, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Not to just quote Kobe, but that's kind of how I feel like that's just a great example of like somebody who's at like their low. It's like, oh man, I did all this work throughout the season. I'm having a great season, in sport. And I'm trying to, obviously win a championship like everybody is. And my Achilles goes out right before this playoffs even starts. So I think, he expressed a lot of frustration, like I was saying, but there's that other side of it. Okay, it's just basketball, at the end of the day, there's people that are starving, there's people that have it a lot worse off than I do, and he kind of talks about that, and I think for me, for bouncing back, that keeping things in perspective like that helps me so much, because I'll be feeling frustrated about basketball or just something else in life, and it's like, at the end of the day, it's just this one area of my life, like there's a lot more going on in my life, there's a lot more going on in other people's life, and be able to reflect and be like, okay, I still have it really good because of X, Y, and Z, and go, counting your blessings almost, and being able to see, what you have, and even seeing, for me, like, okay, so and so has it a lot harder than me. Why do I feel bad for myself? You know what I mean? Putting things in perspective is big, and I think that does help you bounce back, because instead of being super negative in the moment, you're able to be like, okay, where do I go from here? Somebody else has it worse. Stop feeling bad for yourself, and I'm going to take the necessary steps to bounce back, like you're saying.
Yeah, I love that, looking forward.
Yeah.
Like, keeping that forward momentum.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I would actually say for me, with the injuries, my senior year and junior year of high school, I experienced a lot of injuries. And for example, I rolled my ankle, I was out for 3 months. I came back and not even a month later, I rolled the same ankle again, was out for another 3 months. So gratitude was what got me through that. Just being thankful that I'm still alive. I wasn't in the hospital. Yeah, I was walking around in a boot, but like I was still walking. So I think just realizing that, okay, my life is still fine. I'm good. I'm still going to school. I still have this opportunity to play basketball in college. Like just realizing that just helped me get through it. And I was like, I'm still okay.
Yeah, definitely. The bigger picture thinking is so valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So looking outside of sports, off the court, in academics and relationships and community life, how does gratitude in those areas carry back to your game? And you kind of hit on that, but
Yeah, as I said, it's just looking to see like, oh, I have this family, I have this friend group, I have this girlfriend, just being thankful for that. It brightens your mood. So then when it's time to practice, you're already in a good mood. And I think honestly, like for me, when I'm in a good mood, it reflects. I'm joking around with my teammates and I see a smile on their face, and then their smile puts a smile on another face, and our whole team's smiling and joking, and it brings the whole team together, and it just creates this atmosphere that's amazing. For example, our last couple practices, they've been amazing. Everybody's been laughing and joking, and when it's time to lock in, we lock in, but it's still like a positive atmosphere. People are correcting each other, people are taking it in a great way. It's just a great atmosphere to be in, and it all starts with just gratitude and us being thankful to have this opportunity to play here.
oh, that's awesome. That's gotta feel so good to just invest and be excited about being a part of that kind of energy.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Awesome.
Yeah, like Sam's saying, we've had a lot of good practices recently, and I think mindset's everything, perspective, and that all reflects back onto gratitude. Like you can choose to be grateful and choose to be excited to get to go to practice, excited to have this opportunity, or you can be like, man, my knees are hurting, my back's hurting. I'm a senior, I'm legitimately hurt when I go into practice, but I am still grateful, like, man, this is my last go around, this is my last year in college playing basketball, like. Being able to keep that in perspective, and like Sam said, like, it's contagious, you know, if everybody's dragging their feet into practice, that's contagious. If everybody's excited to go to practice and excited for the opportunity, that's contagious. So, he kind of hit on everything that I would say, and I do think, you know, like I said, just keeping things in perspective, being able to understand it is an opportunity, not an obligation, you know what I mean? And just, uh, you know, seizing the opportunity every day is big.
For sure. So y'all mentioned the other day about being on the bench and the guy on the bench that's kind of all down in the dumps and whatever. What are some things that you can say on the bench sitting next to that guy that can flip the script? What kind of, how do you help shift that energy, shift that narrative?
I mean, it could be as easy as, yo, cut it out, like, you're sitting on the bench, there are kids sitting in the stands that would have loved this opportunity just to sit on the bench of a college team. And I think, again, just helping them look into that perspective and be like, just, you gotta step in the shoes of someone else, like, what would it be like to have to pay to come watch the game? Instead, you get to watch on the sidelines, you get to practice with us, you get the gear, you get these facilities and stuff like that. So I think, again, it's just being in that grateful mindset, like, hey, I have it better than someone else. Someone else may have it better than me, but I'm in a great position myself.
Okay. So the whole idea of positive narrative, we talked about that, and also in our courageous leaders session yesterday morning. A courageous leader chooses the narrative that they want to use when they walk into a situation. And if they choose a narrative that's negative, that energy level and that likelihood that it's going to go well is gonna go down.
Right.
But choosing that positive narrative, we have that power, we have that opportunity to choose a positive narrative or negative in any situation. And then shifting it and sharing it with other people too, as you said, is contagious. So yeah, and that's, I mean, that's on us, really.
Right, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. So thinking about the folks that are mentors and models for you, your captains, your coaches, when they model gratitude, how does that influence the culture of your team, or how do they, what are things that you see your leaders modeling gratitude?
I think our coach specifically, he comes in every day on fire, ready to go. I mean, that's one of the things that I really appreciate about him is his passion for the game of basketball and his passion to make us as a team get better as a team. It's not just one guy. We have some really good players, you know, so you could just focus on like those guys and only, but I think that he's really just focused on the little things like how are our post entry passes, you know, how's our post up game going right now? Are we cutting? Are we moving? Like minute details that a lot of people wouldn't even notice. He's just, I mean, he's got a list, he's got things he's ready to cover. He watches the film tirelessly. So like, for me, I know that he comes in ready to go, and I really appreciate that. And I'm grateful for a coach that cares that much. And I think that starting from the top like that, it's really easy to be like, okay, we're ready to go. You know, he's excited. We're all excited to get this opportunity to go and work on things to get better every day. So I just love the passion he brings to the game. I think that makes it really easy for our captains to follow suit, for them to be like, hey, we got this opportunity, we got to work today. You know, and like I think coming from the top like that, having a coach that just loves his job and is ready to go and is excited to help us all get better and accomplish our goals, I think that for me is a big motivating factor and definitely helps, you know, on the days where you're sore or whatever, you're just like, okay, we're back to work though, you know, you're ready to go.
For sure. So you use two keywords, preparation and passion. So thinking about going into something with passion, that takes confidence. You have to be ready to, I mean, you're ready to go, and that's why you're passionate, because you know you're gonna make an impact, right?
Yep.
And that requires preparation, and that's so neat that your coach models that by being super prepared. And then it expects that from you all to be prepared so you can win at that same level of passion. So all of those checklists, all of those step-by-step things that he has prepared are now they're now being executed.
Yeah.
And it's creating leadership practices actually all the way through the entire team. But yeah, preparation and passion, I mean, you have to have both of them. Yeah, you have to have one to have the other.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Other thoughts on what you've seen leaders do?
I think you covered it greatly. I think, yeah, just our coach just showing up, fired up every day, it just climbs down the ladder to all of us.
Sure. And what's cool is that coach approaches everything that way. I mean, he lives his life with passion and preparation, and that's super cool, and that's great modeling for everyone in our community.
Absolutely.
Thanks, coach. Okay, our next question. Sometimes gratitude can be hard to express when emotions run high. Okay, you've been there, right?
Yep.
How do you balance that competition with thankfulness and gratefulness?
I think for me, I can get real competitive. I can say some things on the court, Ev knows, open runs with me, I can be real competitive, but I think again, just at the end of the day, once the game's over, once practice is over, just looking back and being like, hey, like I was just in the competitive mode, like, and my teammates knowing that, and just looking back and being like, okay, yeah, it was a great, I was a great practice, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I mean, it all just comes back to that, just after everything's done, just looking back and being like, wow, I was able to experience this. I'm able to have this opportunity, just staying grateful, staying in that mindset. I think it can really easily, it's hard to be upset at things and angry at things when you're looking at them at a positive aspect. It truly is.
Sure. And something that I've seen in different areas, so someone might be like super fired up and super competitive and like being really short and demanding or whatever with other people.
Yeah.
And it's super important that they realize that it might not be in the moment, but then loop back around and be like, hey, you know, I was super in the moment and maybe I didn't treat you as well as I could have, or I didn't respect you as much as I could have. Looping back is super important, because
Yeah.
people are like, yeah, they were just, you know, being really competitive then, but still, I mean, as a leader, acknowledging that, hey, you know, it was right then, but yeah, just making sure that you respect people and looping back and letting them know that you care about them and that, yeah, moving forward. You might do the same thing again because it's still a heated moment,
Right.
but own it, you know,
Right.
yeah,
100%.
yeah. Any other thoughts on it?
You know, I think, I kind of think back to last year, like, our team, we won a playoff game, we got to the second round. The number one seed lost, so they played right before us, try and lost to Hope, and we were like, okay, we beat Hope by 16 like a week before, so we were like, we just gotta, if we can beat Calvin, we'll be in the championship against the team we know we can beat, you know? So like, you know, like we're talking about, emotions are running high, everybody's very passionate, we all wanna win, and, you know, we end up getting down by 3 with a couple minutes left, and end up losing that game, and everybody's upset. You got seniors that aren't coming back to play the next year, and you know, it's a somber moment where you're just like, man, like, I'm not gonna play with this guy ever again. And you feel for them as well as yourself, you know, like, we all wanna win, we're a team, but kinda, you know, you really wanna win in that moment, you know, it's following the game, you're like, man, and I'm like, you know, everybody's upset, understandably so, you know, we just fell short. And I think it's important, like Sam's already talked about, like, in those moments, I go back to like, okay, this was a great building block. I try to pull positives out of it, like, we got to play this tournament, you know, we did well, we were competitive, we could have won this game. Nobody's happy we lost, you know, it's frustrating, but kind of reflecting back, okay, you know, there's still a lot of positives that came out this year even, you know, this season, this last couple games, you know, we had a good stretch, like, we can build off of that to, you know, for this year even, you know, but it is important to reflect, and like you're saying, like, even our coach has said, like, man, I was hot, it was in the heat of the moment, and he'll admit, that's the thing, like you're saying about a good leader, like, he'll admit when he's like, okay, I shouldn't have done that, I probably was over the top there. You know, or even, hey, I thought you messed this up in a play, but I watched the film, it wasn't you, it was this guy, I'm sorry about that, like, I've had that happen through my 4 years, and sometimes it's my fault, you get growth for it, but I should, you know, like, I need to get better, but I do appreciate that, you know, his leadership style, like, even though it's fiery and passionate, he does go back and he does say, hey, guys, like, I probably got out of hand there, I'm sorry, and, you know, there's noticeable change, and sometimes, I mean, I still expect him to be fiery and passionate, you know, so I'm not gonna hold him to like, oh, well, don't ever get mad at me again, no, like, that's who you are as a coach, keep doing it, you know, it works, so, but yeah, I mean, like Sam saying, like, a positive outlook, being able to be grateful for the things you have, it definitely all comes back to that at the end of the day, for sure.
Yeah, so an idea that you kind of brought up there, the idea of grace, you know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
so someone's gonna like go off in the heat of the moment. And you apologize and they're like, okay, yeah, no problem, that's fine. And so the fact that in these really intense situations, people understand human nature.
Yeah.
And are willing to forgive, move on in a positive way and keep that narrative going, which is super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, grace is a big thing, yeah, for sure. Okay, our next question here. What's one specific gratitude practice, like journaling, reflection, or verbal thanks that you have found effective and why?
One thing we talked about, in our preparation was how me and my girlfriend call every night and we have our own journals and we write down at the end of the day, 3 things we're grateful for, something that didn't go so well, and then something that we wanna work on. And I think doing that and just going through all the previous pages and seeing all these things, it's really helped me to realize, what I have in life and, you know, just writing down things to be grateful for, it just helps you view life in a more positive aspect. And then the things about getting better and what went wrong, like, nobody's perfect. Nothing's gonna ever go perfectly for you. Like, things are gonna happen. So I think just realizing that, oh, I still had 3 things to be grateful for and something still went wrong, but my day was still good. Like, it's okay. You have ups and downs, but even when there's a down, there's a lot more that can go upwards.
That's awesome. That's such a great practice.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I've never thought about it like that, and having this conversation, that's something that I'm like, okay, like that's a good habit to get into, for sure. And I think it all comes back to, are you able to put things in perspective? I think like, if things are going wrong, if things aren't going your way, it's very easy. It's human nature even, to get down on the situation, down on the people around you, or down on yourself. And I think being able to pull yourself out of that and be like, okay, like Sam saying, this didn't go well today, but this did, and some days, like we were talking about this, in preparation, like some days it might just be like, I got to eat, I woke up this morning, like maybe you had a really, really bad day, but like at the end of the day, there's always blessings that you can count, and I think, for me, I mean, I pray, and I do, read my Bible, and that brings me a sense of calm, and even understanding situations I don't understand. Um, so that's a big thing for me, I think I'm gonna be trying to do some of that Sam's doing, writing down, things that you're grateful for. I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think, great practice for sure.
Yeah, so you mentioned goals. So
Yeah, so I'm very goal oriented. I like to have a goal for my week, my month, a year. I think it's important to have direction and where you want to go. Even our team has goals, like, and different things that accomplish those goals. So like, our goal is to win the conference, but we have underlying goals like, okay, we're gonna bring 110% to when we're lifting, when we're practicing. We got specific things that we're breaking down on a daily basis that we're hitting, so like, there's measurable things that you're doing. And for me, I mean, like, I have different level, different, I guess, areas of my life that I have goals in, I mean, I have career aspirations and goals. I have, things with basketball right now that I'm trying to accomplish, lifting weight even, I mean, October 15th, we have our first like official weight room day, and like the first day that we're gonna probably move some heavy weight. So like, it shows up. Were you working leading up to that date? Were you just doing, the lightweight? And now our Coach Frank's another very fiery, passionate coach, and he's our strength conditioning coach. Come on, move the bar, and if you're like, so like, for me, goals, they just keep you on track. They help you to be able to be grateful. Like, I might be feeling really bad that I didn't hit this goal, but maybe I hit this other smaller goal I had that week, and to say, okay, I'm moving forward still. Consistency isn't a straight line up. It's some days you get here, some days you're a little bit down, and it's consistency is across the week, across the month. Like, am I doing the things that I'm talking about doing consistently? And I think having a goal, it gives me at the end of the day, okay, I didn't reach this goal. Tomorrow I need to keep that consistency, right? So that's something that I do, that I find pretty effective, and it gives me, like I said, it gives me a certain level of like, okay, I feel accomplished, or maybe I don't feel so accomplished, but now I know I have something that I need to do tomorrow, it gives me direction, and just a way to measure, am I moving towards the things I wanna do,
right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I love that both of you write these things down, because now you have this chronicle that you can evaluate, and you can evaluate like, what do I have to be grateful for this whole year? I mean, you
Right.
can look back,
Absolutely.
and it can also help you to plan for the future. And so folks out in the world, you have these prompts in your colloquium booklet. So I asked these guys to tell me specifically, what do they write down? And I put it in their booklet, in their session. At the bottom, there's a box that talks about the 3 things and the 1 thing and the 1 thing, talks about the different kinds of goals. So grab that out of your colloquium booklet, go get yourself a dollar notebook at the dollar store, or go get a really cool one from Barnes and Noble. And start doing this. I mean, what an awesome practice. How long does it take you? Like a couple minutes?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
5 minutes at max.
Yeah, so to invest that amount of time to have this great accountability tool, this great gratitude treasure chest.
Yeah.
That can really help maybe even transform your narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. Those are awesome practices. So we got one more question for you, and you're not only players and representatives of the University of Olivet and Go Comets, amazing powerhouses of basketball presence. You are also mentors to a lot of people, to a lot of our younger athletes and to our freshmen and our sophomores that are just coming, and you meet with people on visit days. And so you have a lot of opportunity to influence people. So here's an opportunity to influence as well. What kind of advice would you give to folks who are just stepping into the college athlete experience to help them practice gratitude and build character and performance?
I mean, I would say first thing is be yourself. When I first came here, I kind of closed off a little bit. I wasn't very outgoing, wasn't very loud to myself. I didn't really go out and hang out with anyone really. I just stayed in my dorm, played the game, 2K. But I feel like this year I made it a goal to myself. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start going out more and being myself. And I just feel like that really helped calm the nerves and calm everything. And then on top of that, just like I said, I would write down three things you're grateful for each and every day. And those 2 things alone will boost your morale and your positivity so much more.
Those are awesome suggestions. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, I'd say similar thing. Most people on my team think of me as like a very quiet person even, and I am in certain situations for sure. I'm not the guy who's gonna get up and start yelling in front of everybody most of the time, but I mean, when I first got here, I was a lot more quiet than I am now. I was a lot less outspoken, and I think that I kind of suppressed some of like the leadership things I want, that I naturally have in me, like even just like in the weight room or in a situation where we're trying to get better, build towards things. Because I'm like, okay, well, I'm a freshman, you got seniors here, I don't want to step on any toes. And I don't know if that's good or bad. You want to be respectful of leadership for sure, but I think my advice is, don't hold yourself back, and don't be afraid to be a good positive change, on your team or even in school and life, whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, like I look back and I'm like, man, I wish I would have been like, hey, like, either to a teammate or maybe the other freshman, like, guys, this isn't the expectation. Like, maybe these guys are kind of being lazy. Like, being able to actually call people out and hold people accountable, even I think, don't be afraid because you're a freshman or you're coming into a new situation to suppress who you are. Kind of like what Sam's talking about, like, I feel like I was kind of suppressing some of who I am to kind of fit in and not be, a pain to somebody else who's been here a while or whatever. And I think at the end of the day, like, be authentic, be yourself. If you have gifts, we're all wired differently by God. Like, use your gifts. Don't be afraid to shine and do those things. And also, like for me, like write down goals. Like I'd be like, okay, I want to get 250 shots up today. A lot of guys around me are like, why are you doing that? It's a waste of time, whatever. And it's like, well, I know this is gonna keep me consistent. It's gonna help me be better. And like I have a friend that keeps me accountable to some of these goals that I have. Like, hey, make sure I'm not like in the weight room at 6 a.m. I really want to, I don't want to do 65s right now. I want to be doing 45, so it's easy, but that's not the point. I'm up to get better, to get stronger, right? So like having accountability is big. I think that's my biggest suggestion is find like-minded people, even if it's one person that you can be like, okay, here's my goals for, this year, this month, this week, whatever, and have them hold you accountable to those things, because nobody goes through life alone. I think being on a team is great. Having friends is great, but have a specific person, for me, it was my dad for a while, my mom, keep me accountable, like, hey, are you getting these shots up? Are you doing your school? Like checking in with me, it keeps me accountable. So I'm not just slacking, so I think that that's important. And that's probably my biggest advice.
That's great advice, excellent advice. And something both of you kind of alluded to was the idea of saying yes. So people ask you to do things, your coach asked you to come and talk today.
Yeah.
And you said yes. And the reason he asked you is because he saw something in you that could provide value to the greater good.
Right.
And so when people approach people and say, hey, would you be interested in doing, is because they see where you might fit, maybe you don't see that.
Right.
So I think that is excellent advice, and what you're saying is be authentic and use those gifts that you had, and if someone asks, say yes. So what's the worst that could happen?
Yep.
You miss, what was it called, 2K?
Yeah.
You missed playing your game, or you missed, binging or scrolling or whatever. But if someone asks, say yes, because it could open up opportunities for you to be grateful for all kinds of things, or to help model that gratitude for someone else.
Yep.
I am so thankful to have been able to spend this time with both of you guys and learning a lot about how I've never been on a team other than like softball when I was 7.
Right.
So just learning about all the dynamics there, and how to really use gratitude to make that a positive experience to grow as a leader.
Yeah.
So thank you. I appreciate it
Yeah,
so
thank
much.
you.
This
Thanks
has
so
been
much.
awesome.
Thank you.
And so look forward to seeing you in the court. Go Comets, go Comets. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you in the next session. All right.
Awesome, thank you.
We'll just stop the recording.